Today I have 2 Thanksgiving-inspired cookies for you. Let's start with this first one, a delicious peanut butter chocolate Meltaway cookie. We're going to need 10 tablespoons of unsalted butter and half a cup of smooth peanut butter. I'm using Jif, but you can use whatever kind of creamy peanut butter you have. Mix this until it's nice and creamy, then add in half a cup of powdered sugar. One teaspoon of vanilla. The measure I used was half a teaspoon, so in case you're wondering why I added 2, that's why. It equals 1, I promise. Now we're going to get our dry ingredients together. We're going to need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and half a teaspoon of salt. 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch. Once we have all the dry ingredients, we're going to slowly add it back to our peanut butter mixture. The next part of this recipe, in my opinion, is the most annoying part. We have to refrigerate this dough for a whole stinking hour. Talk about torture! This recipe says to form it into a ball and toss it in the refrigerator, but since this dough is pretty firm at its current stage, I would suggest forming it into a log instead. That way you can just slice it and move on with your life when that hour's up. The recipe says after an hour in the fridge to use a 1-inch cookie scoop and form it into a tight ball, and then flatten it with the back of a measuring cup to the desired thickness. I did it like the recipe says, you roll and smush, but next time I think I'm going to try it the log way. I feel like that would shave off way more time. Into the oven at 350 degrees for 11 to 13 minutes. All that's left now is the chocolate topping and the roughly chopped peanuts. Make sure your peanuts are ready to go and within sprinkling range of those cookies because this chocolate topping is going to set up quickly. To a small pot, add in 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I used regular milk chocolate chips because that's my favorite. But you can use whichever kind you want. I'm using milk chocolate. Add 2 tablespoons of peanut butter and 2 tablespoons of milk. We're going to melt this until it's completely smooth, then take it off the burner and add in 1 cup of powdered sugar. Mix it until it's fully combined, and then grab a spoon and start spooning on a dollop of this chocolate mixture on each cookie. Then top with peanuts as you go. I didn't film this part because I was too busy trying to make sure my chocolate got on the cookies before it set in my pot. You'll notice that the first row right here looks like it was put on cleaner than the second row, and by the time I got to that last row, I was pretty much bargaining with the chocolate just to accept its fate and just get on the flippin' cookie. This next cookie is a Pecan Pie Thumbprint cookie, and it was such a crowd pleaser. I sent them to work with my husband to share with his coworkers, and everybody loved them. We're going to start off with 1 cup of softened butter and half a cup of sugar. Beat everything until it's smooth. Then add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla and give it a quick mix. Then we're going to add in 2 cups plus 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I feel like it's important to note that this part was the most concerning for me. As you can clearly see, it took a good bit of mixing to get all the dry ingredients to form into a dough ball. You'll definitely want to either use a stand mixer or break out your handy dandy hand mixer. I can't imagine trying to mix this by hand, but if you do attempt it, don't get discouraged, you can do it. Now that the dough looks completely mixed and looks ready to go, it's time to form it into 1-inch balls. You can use a 1-inch cookie scoop or just eyeball it like I'm doing. I eyeballed all of these. And to get that thumbprint look, you can either use your actual thumb or you can do what I'm doing and using the back of a teaspoon. Just be sure to dip it in flour if you're going with this teaspoon method. Otherwise, the dough kind of sticks to it, and then when you pull it off, it kind of deforms your cookie a little bit, and the flour does help. So now that all of our cookies have a thumbprint, we're going to move them to the side and put together our pecan pie filling. We're going to need 1 tablespoon of melted butter, 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup of light corn syrup, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. Don't forget 3/4 of a cup of finely chopped pecans, or pecans. Mix everything together and then scoop it into each cookie. I did worry that the filling might overflow, but luckily that didn't happen. I probably could have even used a little bit more filling on some of them. You'll want to bake these for 20 to 22 minutes at 350 degrees. Keep in mind, the longer they stay in the oven, the tougher the filling will set. And you don't want a filling that's rock hard. I took mine out at exactly 20 minutes and they were perfect. The fact that there is 0 refrigeration time needed in this recipe, that alone is a huge winner in my book. You can just make it and go. That's the perfect cookie. I'll leave a link to the recipe in the description box below for those of you that would like to make these cookies for the holidays. I did find both of these on Pinterest, and after having tried them myself, I felt like they were 100% worth sharing with you and giving you my thoughts on them. Thank you so much for watching my video, and if you like this video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe to my channel.